Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is curiosity and how curiosity opens a door to so many possibilities that we might not have otherwise imagined and can provide us with such an incredible richness of life and discovery. So I don't know if this is streaming, so I'm going to check just to make sure because it looks like we might be having some technical difficulties. And before I launch into things, I just want to see if we are on target here. So it looks like we're not really launched yet. We'll find out in a minute. Let's see. Just bear with me for a minute. We're just checking to see where we are. Oh, okay, it looks like we are live, even though, okay, it's not showing up here on, there you go. Hi, Rosalind. Good morning. Good morning. So glad you chimed in. So I know that things are actually online. Can't always tell here. Anyway, so we're talking about curiosity. And I think that curiosity is just this magical tool that allows us to uh, discover and transcend a lot of our biases, our judgments, and just can open up a whole new dimension of experience. So that's what we're going to talk about. And before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale, exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And this time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, all your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together, vigorously rub your hands together to feel the friction, the temperature, the pressure, the motion, the sensation, the tickling and tingling when you stop. And allow all of that to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables us to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning. I know I say good morning, Rosalind, but just I want you to know how deeply I appreciate all of you who join us, and it's just wonderful to be able to share this conversation together. So I want you to know I appreciate you deeply. And if you're putting comments in the chat and I'm not responding, it's because I don't see them. The only comments that I see seem to be those that are posted on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page. So if you want to hop over there to add comments, or on the Enlightened World Network YouTube channel, then I should be able to see them. And if I see them, I'll respond. So curiosity. One of the things I like to say, and that I do deeply believe, is that curiosity is the antidote to judgment. So when we're getting all judgy about ourselves or about others, if we can find a way to just get curious, to be allowing ourselves an inquiry about, well, what is it that's going on? What would I have to be thinking to be feeling this way? Or what would they have to be thinking in order to behave that way? And curiosity is a bridge to understanding and to expanding our perception. And it's also a gateway to wonder, which is one of my favorite states of being, is curiosity and wonder. There's an innocence about it. There's a touching back into the beginner's mind, childlike experience of the unknown. Rather than fear of the unknown, it's characterized more by a sense of wonder and often delight, to be saying, well, what is this? What is that? And exploring something that allows us to literally open our minds. We are literally opening our minds when we step into a space of curiosity. So much of our lives, especially as we become adults, is with this stance of knowing, right? Like, I know what to do, I know how to handle it, I know what this is, been here before, been there, done that kind of thing. And in certain ways that can serve us, and in many ways it acts as a pretty profound inhibition to our potentials, to our capabilities, to our perception, to our awareness. And this spirit of exploration is something that is revitalizing the sense of discovery of something new. It brings us new life. And we've been talking a lot about neuroplasticity. So the fact is that curiosity, learning something new, learning a new language, learning how to play an instrument, learning new skills, actually helps to reshape and generate more function in our brain and in our being. And visualization can be really powerful in that regard. And so curiosity is this magic tool that we can apply in so many different dimensions and ways. In our own personal growth, we can get curious about what are we thinking, and what is it that generated that, and what kinds of choices might I have with that recognition? What are the underlying biases and drives that we don't even perceive that might be kind of running us? How does this work? This thing, what is this thing that I use every day, but I never really paid attention? I wonder if you've ever had this experience where it's kind of like the experience of saying a word over and over and over again, and all of a sudden it's like that word loses meaning and it just sounds like it sounds unfamiliar, and it just sort of takes you into a different dimension of the experience of that word. You can do that pretty much with any word and realize, oh my gosh, it's just some sounds put together that we ascribe meaning to. If you say a word over and over and over again, like then, what does it mean? All of a sudden it's like, wow, you hear it differently, you experience it differently, and it kind of allows us to move our minds into a different mode of perception and comprehension and interpretation. And there's incredible power to that, because otherwise we end up being rather robotic in our lives. In so many ways, we really are robotic. I can't tell you how many times I've noticed myself just do something that I wasn't even thinking about, and it kind of surprises me. Like even just picking out the wrong key to open my door, like noticing all of a sudden I'm jarred into noticing what I'm doing because I did something odd, like pick the wrong key for the lock, even though I've been opening this lock for years and years with the same key. And so it wakes me, those kinds of instances kind of shake me and wake me out of a stupor to recognize, oh my gosh, I wasn't even paying attention. I wasn't even present. And curiosity has this ability to bring us into richer presence, I think, than maybe anything. Maybe our breath, perhaps, but other than that, curiosity, it's just, it opens us to new worlds. Even if you take, a mundane thing, and just get curious about it and explore something that you hadn't explored. We like this marker, take it for granted. It's a marker, it's a highlighter. I use it to highlight things when I'm reading so that I can see them more readily when I come back to it. But I've never really explored this marker and the design of it and where the curves of it are. And as I'm looking at it, it looks like I can see droplets of moisture in there that I never noticed before. And there's sort of a sense of the color that it feels almost like the color radiates, because it's this neonish kind of color to it. And like finding the curiosity, being it's even in this conversation, you can sense that what it opens up is another layer of experience that we're not generally present to. And we can sink so deeply into our own mental machinations that we lose sight, we filter out the world around us. What we do is not only filter out the world around us, but we project ourselves into that world all the time, right? So maybe curiosity allows us to push the boundaries of whatever that projection is, to suspend some of those projections. Even, we've talked about conflict recently this week, I believe. And when we look at conflict, one of the ways that we can move through that, transcend it, transform it, is by getting curious, allowing ourselves to get curious. Like, what is it that this other person is thinking? What is it that I'm so attached to here? What is it that is, I'm feeling? What is it I'm feeling? Am I triggered? Am I actually present to this situation? Or am I reacting to something from the past? And what is it that's going on with this other person, and how can we create a bridge? You know, what might be an inroad for us to find some reconciliation, or to find a meeting point even. So there's truly magic in curiosity. And as far as questions go, and this is one of the reasons that we want to be curating our stories and our questions in a conscious way, our brains are like heat-seeking missiles. There are certain elements or aspects of the way that we think that is very robotic or machine-like, for lack of a better. It's not entirely by any means, because it's really more holographic, but there are certain mechanisms of our thought process that are really kind of mechanistic. So when we ask a question, our brain is going to come up with an answer, even if it's a really bad question. Good morning, Isabel. So wonderful to have you here with us this morning. Welcome. So, for instance, if we ask questions like, oh my gosh, why am I such an idiot? We're going to get all kinds of answers to that, right? Versus, how can I use this situation to learn something new, or to find new solutions? Or it's important. It is important to be conscious of the kinds of questions we ask ourselves, and to craft them in ways that are generative. We actually have that ability to craft questions for ourselves in our curiosity that are generative. You know, so not like, how are they trying to screw me over kind of question, but a question like, what kind of opportunity can I find in this situation? And the bias that we bring to our questions can again shape our experience. So if we jump to a meta level, meta meaning kind of the next level up, looking down, observing the bigger situation, which we've talked about, is, you know, zooming out. Zooming out is super, super powerful. When we zoom out, it gives us a broader perspective. We can see more of the dynamics of a situation. Anyway, we'll call that a meta level. When we go to a meta level, we can say, well, what are the dynamics that are operative in this moment? You know, what is it that's shaping the situation? What might provide a breakthrough here? What kind of common values do we hold that we might be able to find meeting ground with? I guess curiosity is the doorway to creativity. I'm thinking that that's the case, because creativity is an exploration. Creativity is stepping into an unknown. It can be a prescribed or a conscribed kind of unknown, where we're giving ourselves a narrow parameter to do some exploration and discovery. Or it can be broad, like a blank canvas. So there are all kinds of ways in which curiosity is in itself creative and generative, because we're allowing ourselves to explore, to step into an unknown, into a situation or a space that is as yet unexplored. Just by definition, it's an unknown. So lots of us have a fear of the unknown, right? But when we get curious, the curiosity can supersede the fear. The curiosity can allow us to step into the unknown in a more curious, more empowered way. So rather than being fearful, we can be excited. Rather than being anxious, we can be anticipating in a positive way through curiosity. So I just see such tremendous value in cultivating curiosity. And when we see ourselves behaving in ways that we don't like, even, rather than judging ourselves and condemning ourselves and exiling parts of ourselves, what we can do is get curious. And so one of the premises that I work with is that if it's coming up, it's coming up to heal. And this is the case also with emotionality, upset, conflict. Even when it comes up, I say it's coming up to heal. There's an opportunity. That's the opportunity, is to address it. It might be horribly painful as it's arising, whatever this is, it is. And the fact that it's coming up in our awareness and our experience gives us an opportunity to heal it, to address it, to release it, to dissolve it. And curiosity is a really, really powerful solvent, shall we say, for the judgment that we might otherwise level on ourselves or on others. You know, because instead of saying, getting into the whole story about the polarities of things, judgments of things, we get to discover something new. You know, maybe recognize a dynamic that we hadn't been able to recognize previously. So if you don't already have curiosity firmly in your toolkit, your transformation toolkit, I highly, highly, highly recommend cultivating it. And we can do that with simple exercises like with a familiar object, just exploring the nature of that familiar object, noticing patterns, noticing shapes, noticing textures, exploring the thing beyond the thing. Like, what is this? I know if I name it, I can say it's a marker, and then I can dispense with it and I don't pay attention anymore. But if instead I allow myself to get curious about this thing, I might discover aspects of it. It's kind of unlikely that I wouldn't discover aspects of it that had previously been invisible to me, that had previously been beyond the scope of my awareness. And so what we're talking about is seeing our lives, our circumstances, our interactions, the people in our lives, even ourselves, anew, with fresh eyes. And as we do that, new vistas open to us. And we are expanding the capabilities of our physical brain as well. And so it's not an idle activity to be getting curious. Even in our visualizations, we can get curious. It's like, oh, okay, so this is showing up, and now I can look more deeply. What is that? What do I notice about that? How does it feel? How's my body changing as a result of this experience? How's my breath changing? And there's so much for us to discover. So Rosalind says, looking at how we're communicating, our minds are constantly trying to relate it to a previous experience or pattern. Exactly. And that's where this curiosity comes in. I call those previous experiences or patterns. When I was teaching, I would say we need Velcro to be able to hang stuff on so we can make an association and remember it more readily. And there is an advantage to like ripping down the Velcro sometimes and just looking at something without those associations. And that's something that curiosity opens the door to. So I invite you to play with it. I think it's really enlivening and renewing. And that sense of wonder is just such a profound gift. And to me, it's a gateway to the universe, the experience of a greater unity and awe, wonder, love, connection. So with that, I wish you a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live here each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel and my Facebook page. And I invite you to please like and follow the Enlightened World Network YouTube channel, as well as my own Mira Rubin. The links are in the description. Good morning, Dido. So good to have you here with us this morning, and so good to have everybody joining us. So much love. It's such a delight and privilege to be able to have this time with you. I deeply appreciate you. So until next time.